Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X research and professional physicist. And today I'd like to bring to you another one of my articles. This one is entitled, Planet X Comes as a System and Deposits Debris in the Atmosphere. Now, figure 1 below shows a Planet X system stellar core surrounded by a huge number of objects. The stellar core seemed to be moving towards the Sun and turned out to be larger than the Sun. Such a large stellar core would therefore be a core of a star. Now, Planet X system objects seem to have formed suddenly as the planetary debris seemed to still have organic compounds such as desiccated blood in them, which could only have been there if there had been animal life on the planet when it died. If the death process had taken a long period of time, animal life would have ceased to exist long before the outer layers of the planet turned into a debris field. You may look at Article 5.13 for more details on that. So here you see this object, and it turned out to be huge, much larger than the Sun. And this is only the core of what was once a living star. So as a living star, it would most likely have been much larger than the core. And you may look at Article 425 for more details on that and how I estimated the size. Now, it seems that, therefore, the accounts of rivers turning to blood, such as in the plagues of Egypt, may actually have been caused by blood falling from the sky. In other words, desiccated blood which comes to Earth as part of the debris field of a planet, which would have been a part of a Planet X system, star system. Thus, these planets had to suddenly explode, their outer layers turning into debris pieces, and dust and all animals on the surface being torn to pieces, and their remains becoming a part of the debris. Blood would freeze in the coldness of space and may have frozen inside parts of the atmosphere, or if the planet had water on its surface, the blood may have mixed with it and thus remained a part of debris pieces which were in the form of ice blocks. Now, since the planet seemed to have exploded and thus died in one quick event, the stars would also have died at the same time, and all would have lost the same proportional amount of energy. So they would all end up with about 1,000 times less gravitational energy than before. And you may look at Article 518 for more details on that. It's entitled Planet X and Gravitational Tuning. But the ratios of their potentials would remain the same, so that the remaining planetary cores would continue to orbit the star at the same distances from the central star. And here you see the solar system objects. They would all be at the correct position from the Sun, where their gravitational potential or their average energy is just right for that particular distance, because the gravitational potential would decrease as we move outwards from the Sun. So Neptune would have a lower overall gravitational potential, and that's not just its core but the whole object for this particular position. And most of that gravitational potential will be in the core. So the core is the main part of every single object here. Then planets of a Planet X system star would remain at the same relative potential to the planet and would thus also remain at the same orbital distance from the central star. And you may look at Article 518 for details on that. Thus, planets would remain at the same orbital distance to the star, but the star would now have a lower gravitational potential than before, and if it orbits an object which has not died, it will move inwards toward it. Thus, the stars would tend to move away from the positions they had before dying, and that may be the reason why they then started entering the solar system. They would enter the solar system as a system of dead objects, the central star with its debris field and its planets, which are now planetary cores surrounded by their own debris fields, as well as their moons. Now, they would then proceed to be attracted attracted to the solar system object, which has a gravitational potential comparable to each of them, and would thus split up as separate objects or groups of objects. So smaller cores would tend to go to planets of comparable gravitational potential, and the larger ones with comparable gravitational potential to the Sun would be attracted to the Sun and would go to the Sun. Planet X system objects would also most likely remain close to the solar system object, which is of comparable gravitational potential. It may come in initially and acquire a large amount of material, and once it acquires that material, it may then go into orbit around the solar system object. Material in its debris field would come in with it, and a large amount would most likely remain in the Earth's atmosphere. This debris material would have a lower gravitational potential than the Planet X core, and thus be of much lower gravitational potential than material in the Earth of comparable density. So here you see what a living planet would look like: a core, outer layers of material, and then finally an atmosphere. And as a dead planet, it would turn into a core, and then the outer layers, all that used to make up the rest of the object, would turn into a debris field. And now as the object enters the Earth's atmosphere, so it moves towards the Earth's atmosphere, all these pieces of debris would enter the atmosphere with it and will remain suspended in the atmosphere because they would most likely have a much lower gravitational potential than material comparable density. That is, if it was a piece of rock on Earth belongs on the surface of the Earth or inside the Earth. But these pieces of rock would have a gravitational potential equivalent to material in the Earth's atmosphere. So it would remain suspended in the Earth's atmosphere. Thus, so they would remain suspended. This material seems to, however, be able to absorb energy and thus increase its gravitational potential, so that eventually it will be able to reach the surface. Thus seems to be able to do so very quickly, but large pieces of rock are likely to gain gravitational potential very slowly and may thus remain suspended for a very long time in the Earth's atmosphere. And for more details on that, you may look at Article 508 entitled Planet X Debris Suspended in the Earth's Atmosphere. So in conclusion, Planet X system stellar cores will most likely come in as a system with a dead central star and orbiting dead planets and moons, each with its own debris field. Each object would go to a solar system object of comparable gravitational potential from which it would absorb matter and in whose atmosphere would deposit its debris field material, which amounts to an exchange of outer layer material. And these are the references. This is Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X physicist. Thank you for watching.